If I had a nickel for every time a game laden with friction and absolutely refusing to hold a player's hand at launch went on to sell well, even with critics warning about its various issues, I would have 2 nickels in 2026. It's not a lot, but also it's not that weird to see it happen twice. Cue Alchemia Interactive's Gothic 1 remake. You probably spotted it on Metacritic with its current 74 metascore, briefly glanced at a few summaries from the 23 reviews, and didn't give it much thought. After all, for many, Laufey, E-Day, Wolverine, and whatnot garnered way more attention and traction. Suffice to say that landing during one of the more eventful summers of gaming didn't do it any favors. If you watched our review, where we gave it a 6 out of 10, you'll see many similar grievances: bugs, audio issues, crashes, and if you're playing on PS5, the lack of a 60 FPS option. Which may not sound all that bad until you realize that even the PS5 Pro version is capped at 30 FPS, and on top of all that, a melee combat system that felt too clunky, to the point where it often felt better just to let other NPCs do the fighting for you.
Thanks.
Can you teach me to become better with a bow?
I guess I could. The biggest mistake almost every beginner makes is knocking the elbow on their bow arm when they pull. Don't ever do that. It'll mess with your aim.
That's not even getting into all the unique quirks that make Gothic, Gothic. For example, humans can't kill you. Thanks, prison colony formed from a king's war effort gone awry, but they will take your valuables, and considering how utterly weak you are from the beginning, scrounging for every last advantage and coin you can muster, it's enough to make anyone want to give up. Play an easier game. Maybe return to that hardcore playthrough of Kingdom Come Deliverance that you've been meaning to finish. So why then did Gothic 1 Remake sell over 500,000 copies in its first week? Why did it peak at 77,731 concurrent players on Steam? For that matter, with all the different bugs and issues that it has, including but not limited to balancing changes based on the first major post-launch patch, why does it have a very positive rating with 81% of the currently 3,603 reviews recommending it? Nostalgia is a hell of a you-know-what, and the gaming industry knows how to capitalize. Re-releases, ports, remakes, anniversary edition, remasters, sequels, expansions that launch over a decade later. You name it. It could be viewed cynically, especially when the sum is vastly underwhelming next to each part, but we have seen some of the best games in the past decade because of this. Look at Resident Evil. However, each project has a different goal, and that often includes toning down or outright eliminating some of the more contentious elements. Make the combat smoother, make the player feel stronger, make the world less obtuse. After all, this is an open world game, right? Why try to keep anyone from accessing all this content or seeing all the pretty visuals powered by Unreal Engine 5? But that's the thing with Gothic. The friction, the unevenness, the clunkiness, it's all core parts of the game's identity. It's one of the earliest examples of what would be referred to as a genre of incredibly ambitious games developed by European studios which lacked the finer degree of polish seen in your average big-budget blockbusters, but delivered on the gameplay. To revamp and remove all of that is essentially taking away everything that players loved about the original, rendering it a facsimile with prettier skin.
Leave me be!
Oi, Freshie. The farmers are thirsty and we need someone to fetch them some water. Fantastic way to make some friends around here.
And one of those key aspects is making the player weak from the very start. Nothing is given to you for free. You could call it brutally unforgiving because it is, and that's the point, but step outside from your own personal realm of suffering and there's also this feeling of incredible freedom, of being able to explore this massive world, interact with just about anyone, and push the boundaries of what you're capable of. That's even reflected in the combat. If you look at the various development diaries leading up to launch, you'll see the lengths Alchemia went for the remake. Sure, the graphics were important, but the combat diary is especially insightful. For example, your character becoming stronger is more than just numerical, it's reflected in their attack animations. They'll start out looking like a novice, and over time begin to really implement advanced techniques into their repertoire. And as with the original, the goal is to pay attention to the world, your enemies, and your own strengths to understand how to progress. Which applies to the world as well, by the way. If you're going in blind, then you won't know what decision leads to which consequence, which camps to ally with first, or last, or even how to survive. Is it a test in patience and sheer will, combined with judicious save scumming? Yeah, because that's how it could be in the original, until everything fell into place. Believe it or not, there's a joy in such gameplay, which formed the core appeal of Gothic back in the day, and just like then, it's not for everyone. Some want a comfy open-world role-playing experience with a strong focus on storytelling, waypoints that tell them where to go at all times, checklists of activities to complete, and buttery smooth combat that makes you feel powerful out of the gate. It's one reason the Assassin's Creed series continues to see strong sales, especially after the shift towards a more action RPG-like design. Well, that's all well and good, and in the same vein, you'll find plenty who enjoy the likes of Crimson Desert, which encourages getting out in the world and discovering things on your own, or offering extensive freedom right off the bat and letting you loose to decide where your journey should end up next. Plenty of titles exist on this open world spectrum, and it's arguably why the genre continues to remain so popular. But there's really nothing quite like Gothic. Plenty of other titles in recent time have attempted to capture its same feel and unforgiving style of gameplay. Of Ash and Steel comes to mind, yet they inevitably fall short. The world building, the overarching design, the progression, the freedom, and how it all works in unison to push you from relative nobody into someone that matters and could very well upset the current status quo. From the very outset, Alchemia understood the assignment. Retain everything that fans loved about the original, right down to the dark fantasy aesthetic and grunginess, and deliver what they wanted, even if it would feel clunky or unwieldy compared to what most gamers are used to. We don't really know the lifetime sales numbers of the original Gothic, much less how well it sold in 2001, so while it's easy to claim the remake achieved those numbers purely based on the brand name, I think it's more than just fans turning up for that hit of nostalgia or the desire for days when game worlds didn't feel so utterly guided. It reflects an audience of RPG fans that want something different, even if it can be more punishing than they're otherwise used to. Not everyone is going to like it, much like the original. They may just leave after the first hour and only return years later when everything finally clicks. But the fact that Gothic 1 Remake can pull that off while staying true to its roots is worthy of praise. Warts and all. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.